It's by no means the only source of income.
Nuclear now has three main sources of wealth. The source of gas, oil, treasury gives the land to fulfill its duties. The land is part of wealth, to the extent that close within its secret. Then the duchy lands, a private estate of land, property and assets, the monarch receives its annual profits. The Queen received 27 million last year.
Through the Duchy of Lancaster is a massive property portfolio containing land that is nothing was seized by monarchy back in the 13th century, and which they continue to draw personal profits to this day. So as King Charles gets money from monarchy, he comes down to his family and money from the Duchy of Lancaster, and all that would go to the Duchy of Cornwall, held by whoever holds the title of Prince of Wales, which is Charles carries Prince William. That is a separate $1 billion real estate portfolio nearly the size of Chicago, which includes 600 residential rentals, office space in London, and a suburban supermarket depot. That alone brought in 26 million in additional income for the family last year. So the World Cup is one, unlike mentioned, is massive. And in 1993, it was not the public anger of their spectacle William and Charles were to pay voluntary income taxes. That alone isn't necessarily public. Why? The two countries are completely exempt from corporation taxes, and Charles don't have to pay any taxes tax on whatever the people are paying. In fact, all of that is short stuff to do, but they're costing a hell of a lot more than just a pound per person. So, is it not? Well, people could disagree. I think my position on the whole family is pretty well documented to me. They're like their human parents. Long before the class meeting them, and as a compelling case for their searching in the world. But I admit, I am in the minority when it comes to British people. Many feel exactly like this.
I just think it's nice that we have it, and it makes us a bit unusual and unique. I mean, it's nice that we have it. It's a British thing, isn't it? And I think a lot of people would like what we have.
Okay, but it's nice that we have it. Isn't what you say about a free-loading multi-billionaire family exempt from paying most taxes? It's what you say about a water dispenser in your fridge. As for me, a British thing, that's not a great justification for you thinking of what else is a British thing. Mushy peas. If you never had the pleasure, imagine emotionally unavailable guacamoles. They're like the mashed potatoes filled themselves. The fact is, 67% of people in the UK feel that the monarchy should remain. So for now, it does seem secure there. But that brings us to the second part of this story, because abroad, their role is a much more open question. Charles, as king, is now head of the Commonwealth of Nations, a loose alliance largely composed of former British colonies, 14 of which still have the British monarch as their titular head of state, in spite of being self-ruling nations. These are those countries. And debates have been waging for a while in many of them about what the crown represents. As we mentioned back in March, William and Kate had to cancel the first stop on their royal tour through the Caribbean due to overwhelming local protests. And in Australia, in the wake of the Queen's death, the Women's Aussie Rules Football League held a moment of silence for her. But given that they were, by sheer coincidence, in the midst of a 10-day tribute to Indigenous players, they opted not to do that for the rest of the mourning period, prompting this man to freak out.
What a disgrace, seriously. I mean, that any sporting organisation in this country would think there is any reason not to honour the Queen is a joke. And why can't they have a minute's silence in Indigenous Week anyway? I mean, Indigenous people are Australian people. They were subjects of Her Majesty the Queen. And you can have your arguments about colonialism or whatever, but the Queen in this country and for the world was a force for good.
What? You can't just gloss over the entire history of colonialism there. It's like saying, have all the arguments about murder or whatever, but at the end of the day, Charles Manson was a family man. And then let's talk about that history, starting in Australia, where Indigenous people suffered greatly under colonial rule. Researchers have found evidence for conservatively nearly 200 massacres of Aboriginal people at the hands of British military and colonial police, and hundreds more by colonists. And when the Queen herself visited Australia in 1954, First Nations people were not counted as part of the population, and children were still being forcibly removed from their families to be assimilated into white households. So have your arguments about colonialism or